Welcome to the Denver Gold Forum, Darren Stralo.
Thanks, Whip. Appreciate the introduction. It's always nice to be here, 12 months on from saying that we're in the final stages of building a mine into actually having a built mine and a built operation with a pretty strong growth story ahead of it, ready to go. So, look, great to be back at the forum, and I'll take you through the Bellevue story. Been a very busy 12 months from first turning on our processing plant in October last year, so just under 12 months ago. First gold was about the 25th of October. We've just done a whole bunch of a ramp up, delivered into our first guidance, which was 80,000 ounces in the first half of 2024. Produced $40 million of free cash flow in the June quarter, which was a really good aspect of just to show that the mine was performing and could produce free cash flow. And we also did a lot of work on the technical side in terms of updating the resource, putting out a 1.5 million ounce reserve, and then doing a full sort of growth study and full potential study on the project, just to show the production that it was capable of. What that is, on the right hand side here, as I'll talk a bit about today, is a 5-year plan which has us on a pathway to producing 250,000 ounces by FY28. In the meantime, we'll be reducing our all-in sustaining cost by $250 an ounce over that time. And it's a relatively simple process. It's just about getting into the work areas to increase the production from the mine, taking the mine from 1 million tonne per annum mined and processed in FY25 to 1.6 million tonnes in FY28. We just did a recent equity raise where we reshaped our balance sheet, and that really gives us the firepower to unlock that plan and achieve it in the short term. So, look, just quickly touching on the balance sheet, pro forma post the equity raise, it leaves us with $100 million of cash. There's $100 million of debt, which is proposed to be repaid in 2027. And we're just in the final process of negotiation with our lender Macquarie to document that, which is expected within the next month. As a part of that, we took on some hedges. So, you can see our hedge book there. About 30% of our production is hedged for the next few years, and 70% is still exposed to the spot price. Just a good reminder about Bellevue. It is a very high grade and high quality ore body. You see some of the hits that you get through, the sweet spots in the ore body, like this Deacon area here. This is an area that we've been, we sort of discovered back in February in terms of the high grade shoot. It formed a part of our production for the last couple of quarters and will form part of our production going forward. And that's just a small part of Deacon. We've actually discovered the opportunity for multiple high-grade shoots across the entire Deacon zone, and this is looking for the zones of ore that have the same characteristics as the high-grade shoot that we hit. So nice and thick, high-grade, high pyrrhotite, and following this up with tighter space drilling is what we're doing at the moment. And any outperformance through further high-grade shoots will be overperformance on the 5-year plan that we've put to the market. It's not just Deacon that's good. We've got another part of the deposit called Bellevue South, very similar looking rocks, so thick, high grade, high pyrrhotite, and this is something that will really come into the second half of the FY25 schedule and into FY26. So look, fantastic rocks, and all that together, we've got a 3 some states of the US. There's only 7 assets that fit that criteria, and Bellevue is one of them. What separates Bellevue from the others is it's the only one that's held within a single asset company, and it's the only one that has a 40+% growth profile over the next few years in front of it. So quite a significant asset, and we're very, very glad to own it at Bellevue. So look, if I run through and just talk about where we are, just to give you an idea, give you the background on Bellevue. We're in the northern goldfields of Western Australia, so we're on a greenstone belt called the Agnew-Wiluna Greenstone Belt, which is about 4 hours drive north of Kalgoorlie. You can see Bellevue in the middle here. We're surrounded by some pretty significant and well-known West Australian assets. You've got Gwalia just off the page down the Goldfields Highway down here. You've got Jundee and Wiluna, which are pretty significant systems just to our north. And our nearest neighbour is Agnew-Lawlers, which is owned by Goldfields, which has been consistently running for 25 plus years now, just with a rolling sort of 2-year mine life. And we think that Bellevue will eventually get to that stage too. So where we look, Bellevue was mined as a sort of a single load mine down here back in the 1980s into 1990s. Next to it was discovered a nickel mine up in the top right corner here called Cosmos, and the whole mining tenement became about nickel for the next 20 years. It wasn't until 2017 that there was some modern exploration done on Bellevue, and we found parallel lodes, so 2 parallel lodes, extension north and south of the original lode, and some flat dipping lodes that connect it, which is really where we've built out that ore body. And you can see it's not just a single lode that we're chasing to the middle of the earth here either. It's multiple lodes spread out over circa 2.8 kilometres. You can see those multiple lodes I'm talking about here with Tribune, with Bellevue, with Deakin, and essentially very well drilled out within the zone of the mine, but not well drilled outside, because we had enough ounces to justify going forward on the thing. So within that mine corridor, it was about getting the intensity of drilling in there to de-risk the ramp up. But there's not a lot of exploration outside of that mine corridor, and that's something that we can do from the underground platforms that we've built. Now, what we did do as we build the mine was really tried to de-risk the ramp up by doing a lot of grade control drilling. So we've essentially drilled the majority of the operational areas out to 20 metre by 10 metre with oriented diamond core. The reason for that was just to make sure that we knew when we were going in there, to do narrow vein mining for the most part, that we knew where the ore was going to be, and that's really de-risked it from an execution perspective, and you've seen that in our ability to hit our guidance. After the drilling, we put the development in. You can see some of the great development faces there. It's very competent rock there. It's very hard rock at Bellevue, but what you mine is what you get. So it responds really well to drill and blast, and we're starting to see those development rates increase as well. Stoping, this is what provides the majority of the feed to our mine. Some of it's narrow vein, but there are some sort of wide zones as well. We've been stoping since September last year now, so about a year. And we're achieving all the parameters that we wanted to. So, it's going very well, and that sort of leads into the next bit. Really what unlocks productivity at Bellevue and how we get ahead here is about putting the infrastructure in place to leverage off and to get increased productivity over the next couple of years. So we were restricted at times over the last 6 months in particular as we ramped up the mine, and we sometimes had to choose between stoping and development, but all those bottlenecks are now being removed. We've just got the finalisation of a major ventilation project. You can see down on the bottom right here. We've got 2 of these fan installations. These are $5 million installations that literally get commissioned in the next 2 days, and then we'll be up and running. And that increases our underground ventilation by 50% immediately. So by the end of this week, we'll have 50% more vent underground. That means that our re-entry times will be quicker. We'll have more work areas available for us and really increase the productivity of our underground. So look, off the back of the better balance sheet, the operational experience that we have on site, we've put together this 5-year plan which has us growing from 165 to 180,000 ounces this year, up to 250,000 ounces by FY28. What it needs us to do is spend a bit of money on growth capital. So this is finishing off all of the infrastructure projects. This is opening up 2 new mining areas, being Deakin North and Tribune, and by bringing them on early, that really unlocks our ability to hit that run rate in coming years. I talked about the throughput rates. What I might do while I'm here is focus on this graph on the bottom right of the page here. Bellevue we always talked about, and anyone we've talked to about Bellevue over the past few years, it's been about the high-grade core of about 1 million tonne per annum at 6 grams per tonne, which if you have a look at these gold bars here, that's about the 1 million tonne per annum mark. And from a mining perspective, you see on this graph what we're going to do. So we'll be circa 800,000 tonne this year. We'll be at the 1 million tonne per annum run rate for 2 years. Then we'll increase to 1.2 million tonne per annum in FY28, and that's what really drives that increase up to 250,000 ounces. But when you think about the high grade makes money at an incremental processing cost. That plan is fully designed out. So, you can see our design here in FY25, the 2 new mining areas being Deakin North and Tribune that we're going to mine out to, and then that really adds up to being, consistent production from multiple mining areas over multiple years, which underpins that growth plan. Another key bit that comes out of it is our ability to reinvigorate our exploration. So in that plan, we've got $30 million for this year and next to spend on drill drives and exploration, and we expect that we will continue to spend money because we expect to find the extensions to the ore body, particularly to the south. But we'll be in a position where you can see these drill drives that we're building out. This will give us the ability to drill, the ore body at depth, the ore body to the south, like Deakin, and then this is Tribune and Bellevue South that we'll be able to drill from the drill drive here. So this is all costed into that plan and expected to realise a whole bunch of ounces that we can add years and years onto that mine life that we were showing you. And look, why we're confident on it is that we actually have the science to back it up. So, particularly down to the south down here, you can see these downhole EM targets. Bellevue is a very high pyrrhotite ore body, and you saw the pyrrhotite in the development, and you can see it in the drilling here. By targeting that pyrrhotite, you can actually light it up in downhole EM surveys, and downhole EM usually only works for base metals deposits, but because of the pyrrhotite content at Bellevue, you can actually see it in that. And we've got downhole EM plates. If I show you particularly that southern area that we can target, I'll put a different colour out here. But importantly, when you actually just look at the continuation of the ore body, so that dark blue fault there is a fault called Conselma. You can see our Viago ore body hit it and come out the other side. It's got about 120 metres of down thrust. You can see this is our Deakin main area here. You look at that same down thrust, and this is our Deakin South target over here. We've got downhole EM plates that indicate that it's going to be there. We just simply haven't been in a position where we've been able to drill it to date, and that's something that we're going to be able to do. How are we going to be able to do it? Well, we're going to build the development drives out to get there. So, you put those EM plates on, you have a look in that north-south horizon. You look at the extent of Bellevue up here, and then the extent that we're going to open up through that exploration drilling to the south there, and our ability to, drill this out at depth, drill Deakin to the south, and then, drill off that southern drill drive is going to open up heaps of the ore body that we just haven't been able to access to date, and find some ounces. Excitingly, I was up on site not last week, the week before, just before we came overseas, and this drill rig turned up. So this is, an extra drill rig on site that's going to be dedicated to exploration. You can see on the bottom left there, the pipeline of highly prospective targets that we have on site that we're going to be following up systematically. We're still going to be got the drills in place to convert the inferred to indicated and keep converting the 3 million ounce resource and adding to our 1.5 million ounce reserve. So as we go forward, we just get access to more areas and we can put it all together. Why is that exciting? I mean, I'm sorry. And the other thing that we're doing, you can see the guys in the room here, but we've signed up to verify AI and the targeting stuff there. If you want to know about that, just talk to JP down here. But that uses all of the science-based stuff and use computer learning to help indicate where ore's expected to be, and we're going to be drilling some of those targets as a part of that upcoming plan. So, where we sat with Bellevue is, before we started building the mine, we were spending a considerable amount on exploration, year in, year out, and we saw those reserves and resources increase, up to that 3 million ounce resource base. While you build the project down here, our money was going into grade control drilling, so we didn't do any exploration during that time. That's 2.5 years of no exploration drill holes. And what we saw was the resource base levelled off, but we were able to increase our reserves and increase the indicated part of that resource. We want to give exploration a shot in the arm, and by spending that money, over the next 3 years, $75 million, we expect to have, a significant increase in the amount of ounces and mine life that we find at the project. So look, that's really the high-level Bellevue story. We think we've got a fantastic asset. We've put a really solid plan that's underpinned by proper designs on the table. We've got the management team that's here to see it out, and we still are very excited about unlocking the exploration potential of the project. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren. We've got a couple of minutes left, so if there are any questions from the floor, please raise your hand and the microphone will find its way to you. Before that gets there, Darren, just quickly from me, the recent equity raising you did, it was $150 million from memory. 120 went to pay off the banks. Macquarie's still there with 100 or so. Is there a reshape of the amortisation profile on that? And if so, when?
Yeah, so the reshape of the amortisation will be all to 2027. So it'll match when we'll have higher ounces, we'll have lower costs, and also the expansion capital spend finishes by then. So look, it'll be very well covered from cash flow. And in fact, if the gold price stays where it is now, we'll have that paid off pretty quickly.
Cool. 2 minutes.
Darren, one from me. Probably something I should have asked everyone today, but how are you seeing costs, obviously with the fallout of sort of nickel and probably the better availability of workforce? Is that going to be helpful to the margins and stuff?
Yeah, so helpful to margins is going to be relative, because typically with costs you see them rise, you don't see them fall. You see them rise and then stabilise, and then rise and then stabilise. I think we're getting into the second half of that though, is that if you look at post-COVID, the West Australian market went crazy. Nickel was going hard, lithium came on the scene, and all of the projects made such high margin on paper that they were able to pay premium for everything. And there was a lot of demand for people, equipment, suppliers, everything over that period. We're now seeing a bit of a levelling in the market, in that a few nickel mines have closed, a few lithium projects put on ice, and for the first time you're actually able to have multiple people applying for roles. You're not seeing such high turnovers and seeing that stabilisation in your cost base. So I think that the margin expansion is going to be from the cost base stabilising and the gold price continuing to go up. Damo?
Thank you very much, Darren.